language,
discrimination,
racism,
culture, change.
life.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. While I field any questions, you might like to pass these round.
My name's Sabine Little and I'm a senior lecturer in languages education in the School of Education at the University of Sheffield. The project Growing Up Multilingual with Chinese Heritage came about because I had been working with heritage language and multilingual families for a very long time. And normally my research projects are about all multilingual families. I've worked with heritage language schools, I've worked with individual families, I've worked with libraries. And I was keen to start to develop a project that was all about one specific language community. And Sheffield has got a particularly vibrant Chinese heritage language community. And so the idea of having a project that explored both the global of what it is like growing up multilingual with Chinese heritage and then juxtapose that with the local of what it's like growing up multilingual with Chinese heritage right here in Sheffield.
Hello, my name is Yue. 我叫周月. I'm a research associate at the School of Education, University of Sheffield.
So to me, this project is really meaningful, both personally and in terms of my own research. I genuinely appreciate the efforts and commitment that our young people bring to the project. I think one of the most exciting parts of the project is its participatory nature, and I really enjoy working with young people at every stage. The performance we produce is part of this process, where we work together to bring the research data to life.
I thought it was a really great opportunity to hear from young people in their own words, and I think we all learn a lot from young people, particularly people who have different cultures and upbringings to what the majority of us growing up in Europe. It was really inspiring to hear some of the honest reflections on some of the bad experiences some of the young people have had, for example, some racist experiences, and their bravery to stand up and talk about that. It's really great to see.
My growing up years, I've experienced various forms of racist discrimination in public place, at school, and on social media. This discrimination has left me feeling confused and hurt.
在学校里，有时我会遭到同学们嘲笑和排斥，仅仅因为我和他们的肤色、语言或文化背景不同，这让我觉得自己与众不同，有时甚至怀疑自己的身份和价值。
What I was particularly keen to achieve with this project was to listen to the young people themselves. So when we structured the research project, we asked young people all around the world to share with us whatever they wanted to say.
Hello, I'm Daniel. My partner is Chinese, so I was interested to see how the children kind of identified with their Chinese culture, especially like the kids who are both British and Chinese, and sort of thinking about how that might affect. Obviously, if we ever have children, it's kind of thinking about how that might impact us. I'm a geography teacher as well, so it's interesting from that sort of perspective, like thinking about different countries and cultures, and how children identify as well, sort of in the classroom and things, and what struggles they might face.
My Chinese was very good when I was little. 但是到了英国的幼儿园里，老师和小朋友听不懂我的话。But when I went to nursery here, the teachers and children didn't understand. But I still talked a lot, thinking they could understand. Later, I started speaking more English and less Chinese. Now my Chinese isn't very good.
Language is a powerful tool that shapes our identity and connects us to our roots. It carries the essence of who we are, our history, and our values. As I began to lose my fluency in Chinese, I realized that it wasn't just words slipping away. It was part of my cultural heritage, my link to the traditions and stories that had been passed down through generations.
I celebrate both Western and Chinese festivals in the UK, whether it's Christmas and Easter or traditional Chinese holidays like the Spring Festival and Mid-Autumn Festival. I get to experience the rich heritage of both cultures.
The project is in two strands, a global one and a local one. For the global strand, we worked with 7 young co-researchers to help us frame how can we ask young people to share their views. And we wanted to make sure that they felt happy to share the good, the bad and the ugly. We didn't want them to feel societal pressure to say that everything was brilliant, but at the same time we wanted them to be able to share that. So we worked with our young co-researchers to ensure that we used the right words to encourage other young people to come forward. And that was in any way, shape or form. So we had songs, poetry, paintings, etc., multimodal responses to our questions. Locally, we did focus groups. So we worked with young people, again 11 to 18 years old, and explored their views of growing up multilingual with Chinese heritage here in Sheffield. And then the young performers looked at those data with us and decided which of the stories they wanted to incorporate in the show. So that means that if some of them chose the same, then that's fine, it appears twice in the show. That doesn't matter. It was all about making sure that the young people involved, both as research participants and as performers in the show, had the chance to focus on what they felt was important to share with the public.
No, sorry. Sorry, I'm afraid you're a danger to yourself if you have a screwdriver.
I think that's what they do.
This way, get away.
I think this was never meant to be a show in the way of a performance with a plot, a beginning and an end. It's not a showstopper. It is about bringing the data to the general public. So our young performers are not necessarily people who have performed before in school plays or anything. They are people who've come with their own experiences, and that's what secures them a place at the table. It's about their experiences and those shared experiences that are important. So it was less about a polished performance and more about ensuring that everybody had the space to say what they wanted to say in a way that they wanted to say it. So it was never about creating something that, I don't know, would go to a West End theatre or anything like that. It was meant to be authentic, and I think that is something that we have achieved, and I'm really proud of the young performers for coming on that journey with us and making that performance happen.
I have lots of friends local school, so I don't want to go there. I can teach them Cantonese. 你教佢咁邊個教你啊？中文學校嗰啲人咯，所以你一定要去中文學校。No！ 你返到香港點同人講嘢啊 ？Speak Cantonese or English? I can't speak。你唔得，我而家聽你講，你都講到唔好。好似係你唔識講。
The way we designed the show was really co-produced with the young performers. We brought the data to the table, and the young performers picked the data that they wanted to share and decided what to do with it. So some picked a piece of data and chose to just read it as a monologue or perform it as a monologue. Some chose to add some of their own personal narratives to that, and others chose some data but then constructed a different narrative, turning some of the topics that came out of the data into a monologue that embraced those topics but not necessarily word by word what the data showed. And again, it was completely up to them how they chose to do that. So the show is an amalgamation of all of these approaches, giving space to the young people to do whatever they felt most comfortable doing in relation to the project.
Joining a Chinese school has been a great joy for me.
我覺得特別驕傲同埋與眾不同。My Mandarin began to suffer as my English improved. It was fun to be able to converse with my mom and relatives who lived in China.
I feel that having this language skill makes me even more unique.
Knowing Chinese makes me feel closer to my heritage.
We don't need it in this country. We don't need English.
I noticed that my friends weren't learning Chinese as an extracurricular subject, and I gradually lose interest in it.
I take pride in this, and I'm grateful for my decision to learn it.
I find learning Chinese quite boring. After all, having one less day of free time than my peers and more homework can be challenging.
Claim your spot. Do your thing. Disappear. That.
Sometimes I'm not happy where am I from. I developed a hatred towards learning it. I became less interested in my mother tongue.
The Chinese culture carries such beauty, but why does my skin carry such violence? 为什么会这样? I will forever distinctly remember the night my father was assaulted whilst I snoozed into a dream. 我们至少应该在家感到安全，但是作为一个中国人，睡觉也多困难。如果你会说英文，你就算聪明，能帮爸爸妈妈翻译。但我不会写我自己的语言，我聪明吗？ I often feel lost, displaced to nothing, suspended in a limbo between East and West. No heritage, no roots. And a lot of this is my fault. I spent so long marinating myself into the racism, absorbing it into the pores of my skin. Sometimes I really don't know who I am, but maybe that's okay. Maybe the beauty of human experience lies in the struggle to pick up scattered remnants of identity. 我叫玲玲，我爱我的中国文化。
I remember my grandmother's hands, delicate and wise, folding the paper with meticulous care, her voice weaving ancient tales of luck and love. And now, in this cold, soulless expanse, I find nothing. How do I bridge this chasm between past and present, between this richness of tradition and the sterility of modernity? Is this what progress means? That our cherished traditions are swallowed up in the relentless tide of instant gratification and endless choices. That something so simple, as vital as a red pocket, can be so easily forgotten, so casually discarded. So Tesco, hear me cry. Your aisles are not just filled with products, they are filled with pieces of people's lives, their cultures, their histories. Sometimes all we need is a simple red pocket to feel whole, to feel connected, to feel alive. Without these red pockets, without this tangible link into our past, our hope for the future, we are lost, we are diminished, we are forgotten. Grandmother, I vow I will not let your legacy fade. I will find these red pockets. I will keep these traditions alive. For without them, we lose a part of ourselves, a part of our soul.
I would say, if you're interested in finding out what it is like to grow up multilingual with Chinese heritage in the world today, as shared by young people, performed by young people, then this show is for you.
Wonderful!
No, that's not it, yeah.
That's not it yet, okay.
Yeah, quite excited.
Yeah.
language,
discrimination,
racism,
Culture.
Change.
life.
Thank you.